Well, as usual, nothing went as planned, but that's okay because we had fun anyway. Come along and see exactly what trouble we got up to. I am the creative Contessa and welcome to my unplanned adventures. Today we are flying by the seat of our pants on gorgeous Jeju Island, Korea, a paradise of myth and magical beauty. Come along on our utterly extemporized explorations. We are day tripping Jeju today, having booked cheap, last-minute, same-day tickets from Daegu for roughly $85 US round trip. The journey is a whole hour, the majority of which I expect we will spend taxiing. The plan is to spend the day here and then return back to Daegu this evening, just a single day for us in paradise. Well, after spending more time taxiing than flying, we are here at Jeju. Let's go. No bags to pick up. It's so weird. Well, the first stop on our exciting Jeju visit today is Manjanggul lava tubes. And to do that, we simply exit the airport and come to stand number 2, bus stand number 2, which is right outside of door 2. And we wait for the bus. And as you see, there is a bus sign here and tells you when the next bus comes. We're taking bus 101, which unfortunately for us is about 28 minutes away. So we wait for the bus and then we hop on and we have one transfer, so the adventure continues. Note that bus rides in Korea can be a bit like a roller coaster, so rider beware. The advantage of taking the bus is that neither of us have to focus on driving, so we can enjoy the beautiful scenery that passes us on our hour-plus journey. Turns out that the lava tube caves are closed. Manjanggul, they're closed temporarily, so-called temporarily, for a year and a half until 2025. So we're here in Woljongmi. We have already spent an hour on the bus, so we're going to just go ahead and get off and wander around this much less touristed spot of Jeju Island and see what we find. You know, if you want to see what everyone normally does on Jeju Island, I'm confident there are literally hundreds of vlogs for that. So I'm calling this vlog Jeju, the Undiscovered. Well, okay, obviously someone else discovered it before us, but you get the point. Oh yeah, the funny thing is, of course, that I only dressed in hanbok today because we were planning to go to the folk village also, but I didn't realize the distance or the time it takes to get from Manjanggul caves to the folk village. So it's an hour 50 minutes just from here to the folk village. Ironically, it would have been that exact same time to go straight from the airport to the folk village if we had known the caves were closed, but we didn't. So the lesson is always go to the official tourist website of any site to make certain that it's actually open at the time you are visiting. Rookie mistake, but I outsourced travel plans this time, so. Turns out that it wouldn't have mattered anyway because the official website did not deign to say a thing about the closure. In fact, the only site that mentioned it at all was Google, which should disturb us all. And along the way, we spot interesting and colorful little cafes like this one, as well as homes with luscious flowers. Very shortly, we reach a beach that looks like a photoshopped travel agency poster, for those of you who may remember what a travel agency is. And no, I haven't photoshopped this at all. I really didn't need to. An interesting array of cafes and restaurants, and over there you can see Cafe Stay Salty, which I don't think they understand what that word means in English, because that's the opposite of what you should feel at a beach. But here it is. I may not be dressed for swimming, but I'll be damned if I let that stop me from enjoying this heavenly water. While I frolic a bit, let me briefly address Jeju as an island, specifically as a geographic feature. For those who don't know, Jeju is actually one giant volcano, Halasan, and this gives it its unique landscape, its unique architecture, and this amazingly crystal clear water. Note that if you decide to hike Mount Hala, it's a 10 to 12 hour process, so you better get started earlier, and definitely don't do it in the winter. We were just walking over there and I felt cold water rushing in amongst the worm water, and we followed it up, and there is actually a proper freshwater spring here. How cool is that? Well, it might not be a cave, but it is a small hole in the ground. YOLO, man. It was worth it. It was worth it.
Yep.
Well, now having risked my life in pursuit of delicious spring water, we're going in search of food to counter any potential toxic effects of said spring water. At least that's the hope. I'm confident that is totally scientifically backed. Onward for adventure. And as we walk along, this place just seems to get more and more disgustingly photogenic. And on the way, of course, always keep your eye open for interesting sights, such as this Jeju Geo House, which is built of volcanic rock. Of course, the main building material here, there aren't many trees as such, and covered by beautiful sea flowers. And I'm certain someone in the comments will tell me what the name of these beautiful sea flowers is. And of course, here is where the seafood is literally the freshest, and you can have it prepared right on the beach. Well, one of the advantages of traveling in the shoulder season is, in the middle of the week no less, is that there is no one at a beach town. The disadvantage is that there are no restaurants open either, to recognize the lack of people coming to eat. So we almost gave up. We were on our way to the bus stop to head towards a more populous area, and then we found this. Hook Taeji, so that is black pork, and it seems to be open. There are people in it. So let's go in and find out what it may hold. Amazing view from this restaurant. Those fields are not long for this world. At least not as fields. I don't mean to say Jeju will be swallowed soon by a tsunami or something, but they will be developed. So enjoy the view while it lasts. We order God's gift to humanity, black pork belly, which comes with the usual array of banchan, side dishes. Note that banchan are all you can eat here in Korea, so dig in and feel free to ask for refills. A fun and perhaps inappropriate fact about Jeju black pigs is that they were actually also known as poop pigs because of the way in which they used to be raised. Apparently, people used to actually build the latrines from their homes directly over the pig pen and then, well, feed the pigs that way. This was, however, not a unique practice in Jeju. It's pretty much how people throughout most of the world fed their pigs until relatively recently. Well, on that tasty thought, it's time to eat. Okay. And we have a black pork belly jjigae. Look at that. Yummy. So here in this pan, we have pork drippings, and you might normally not consider eating those, but the winning combination is a tiny bit of the pork drippings in your spoon and a little bit of the broth from the jjigae and that. Oh my god, that's amazing. Takes the edge off of the jjigae if the jjigae is a little too hot for you, and makes the flavors really pop with the rich yumminess of the rendered black Jeju pork fat. Contessa pro tip. Having enjoyed all that amazing food for 30,000 won for 2 people, one of the many reasons that I love Korea, we are now heading back towards the airport. Well, we have decided to stop at the Natural History and Folklore Museum of Jeju Island because it's literally on the way back. We just had a crazy bus ride. Oh my god, it was like riding the Harry Potter bus ride for 53 stops. Wow. So let's go and check out this museum and see what treasures we find. The park around the museum turns out to itself be worth a wander. It's a peaceful green haven in the middle of an otherwise rather prosaic urban center. After wandering through this park, kind of hitting every single other building that's here that's museum-like and finding that none of them were the museum, we finally found it. Now let's see if it's open or if we're just going to have to go to the airport and find a lounge. The natural history section of this 2-part museum features wildlife from the island. It's a bit old school with a lot of taxidermied animals, although it is interesting to see some of the birds that I never really get to see out in the wild here. And some of the mammals as well. Yes, weasels. I've never seen these out here in the wild. They're so cute. I bet they smell just as bad as ferrets do. The Jeju folk culture section of the museum greets visitors with a really bizarre attempt to update the otherwise somewhat dated diorama exhibits. Maybe I'm hallucinating? The life-size cases display all stages of life on pre-modern Jeju, including the way people worked and lived. And on that fire, you see an iron for ironing cloth. The showcases display pre-modern life on Jeju. Here we see a Joseon-era Jeju wedding in which the groom's family is presenting the bride's family with a whole bolt of cotton. Because Jeju was such a heavily agrarian society, mothers used to bring their babies with them to the fields and the entire family would take care of them, including older children. This is a Hwangab, a 60th birthday celebration that could only take place if one's children were still alive. The custom represents a time when reaching 60 was quite a feat, which I suppose was followed soon by this, a funeral. And following the funeral, of course, comes the memorial service. And what's interesting is that they would set the table between 11:30 and 12:30, the first hour of the day, but then they'd set another table for the door god that guarded it. The museum is fascinating enough that we lose track of time and end up racing back to the airport. In rush hour traffic, no less. Woohoo! Today was a bit of an experiment. Is it really feasible to day trip Jeju Island from the mainland? The answer is yes, very much so. But the island is absolutely worthy of much more time and attention. Jeju, we shall return. What do you think, dear viewer? Would you like to spend a day, a weekend, a week, or more here? Let me know in the comments below. Until next time, may your travels be creative and unplanned.